Cybersecurity threats. We hear that phrase all the time, right? But what does it actually mean? It can feel a little vague, kind of like some digital boogeyman lurking in the shadows. Well, today, we're going to flip on the lights. We're going to break down exactly what these threats are, how they work, and most importantly, how you can start to see them coming.
And it's a really important question for, well, all of us. I mean, just think about it for a second. Your banking, your social media, your emails, pretty much our entire lives are encoded in data now. And you know what that means? It means every single one of us is a potential target. So let's get you prepared. All right, so here's our game plan for today. We'll kick things off with the big picture, the digital world we all live in. Then we'll get on the same page with some key terms. After that, we're going to peek inside the attacker's toolbox, figure out who these attackers actually are, and then wrap up with how you can build your strongest shield.
Okay, first up, let's set the stage. It's no secret that our world is more connected than ever. I mean, it's pretty incredible, right? This massive network of devices and data. But that connection also creates this huge landscape where digital dangers can pop up. So, to really get a handle on these dangers, we've got to speak the same language. Let's lay a quick foundation and define 3 core ideas. Honestly, these are the bedrock of pretty much any cybersecurity conversation you'll ever have.
First up, we've got the threat. The easiest way to think about a threat is as the what. It's the potential for something bad to happen. It could be a piece of nasty code just sitting there, or a person with bad intentions. Either way, it's just waiting for a chance to strike.
Okay, so if the threat is the what, next we have vulnerability, and this is the how. A vulnerability is basically a weakness, a gap in the armor. The analogy I always use is an unlocked door or an open window on your house. It's the opening that a threat can use to get inside.
And finally, you put those two together. A threat meets a vulnerability, and what you get? You get risk. Risk is the actual chance of loss or damage. And this brings us to maybe the single most important rule in all of cybersecurity. If you can get rid of the vulnerability, you get rid of the risk. It's really that simple.
All right, so we've got our vocabulary down. Now for the interesting part. Let's actually look inside an attacker's toolbox. What are the go-to methods they're using to take advantage of those vulnerabilities we were just talking about?
First up is probably the most famous or infamous tool in the whole kit, malware. It's short for malicious software, and it's basically an umbrella term for any piece of code that's designed to be a digital home invader. Its job is to disrupt, damage, or just completely take over your system.
And malware comes in all shapes and sizes. Just to see how different it can be, let's look at 2 classics. You've got your virus. Think of it like a biological one. It has to attach itself to a clean file, and it needs you to do something, like open that file, to spread it. But then, you have the worm. And a worm is a whole different beast. It's totally self-sufficient. It can wriggle its way through entire networks all by itself, making copies as it goes. That ability to spread on its own is what makes it so dangerous.
Okay, moving on from malicious code, let's talk about something that's more about messing with your head. Phishing. This one isn't about exploiting software, it's about exploiting human psychology. It's really just the art of digital trickery, designed to fool you into handing over your sensitive info. And the way it works is, well, it's frighteningly simple. It all starts with a message. You get an email, or maybe a text, that looks super official. It might look like it's from your bank, or even your boss, and it's always urgent. It pushes you to click a link that takes you to a website that looks perfect. Totally legit. So you pop in your username and password, not thinking twice. And boom, just like that, they've got your credentials.
All right, let's switch gears to an attack with a totally different goal. This is the denial of service attack, or DOS for short. The attacker here isn't trying to steal anything. The goal is pure digital sabotage, to knock a service completely offline. The best way to picture it is this. Imagine you're trying to walk through a single doorway, but 100 people are all trying to cram through it at the exact same time. Total gridlock, right? That's a DOS attack in a nutshell. It just floods a website or a server with so much junk traffic that it gets completely overwhelmed and legitimate users, people like you and me, can't get through.
So, we've seen the tools of the trade, but who's actually on the other side of the keyboard using them? Let's pull back the curtain on the different types of attackers and figure out what makes them tick. First up, the one we've all probably heard of, the cybercriminal. You can think of these folks as the modern-day bank robbers, except their getaway car is a high-speed internet connection. Their motivation is as old as time. It's all about the money. Pure and simple. They'll use things like ransomware to lock up your files and demand payment, they'll steal credit card numbers, or they'll just steal massive amounts of personal data to sell on the dark web. It's not personal. For them, it's just a business.
Next, let's talk about a completely different breed of attacker, the hacktivist. And yeah, the name says it all. It's a mashup of hacker and activist.
Hacktivists aren't motivated by greed. They're after attention. They use their technical skills as a form of protest. They'll do things like take over a website and change its homepage, leak sensitive documents to expose wrongdoing, or launch denial-of-service attacks, all to get their political or social message out there.
And finally, we've arrived at the top of the pyramid. The most sophisticated, best-funded attackers out there, the nation-state actors. These are, for all intents and purposes, the spies and soldiers of the digital world.
These groups operate with the full resources and backing of a government. Their goals are huge, things like international espionage or gaining a military or economic advantage. We're not talking about quick smash-and-grab jobs here. These are long-term, patient, incredibly complex campaigns that can target anything from a country's power grid to the secret designs of a major tech company.
Okay, we've gone through the threats, the tools, the attackers, and I know it can feel like a lot. It can be pretty intimidating, but this next part is the most important part of this whole explainer. What can you actually do about all this?
And that brings us to the core idea, the one thing I really want you to take away from all this. Your strongest shield, your best defense, isn't some fancy app or an expensive piece of software. It's knowledge. It's what you've just learned. Simply understanding these dangers, how they work, why they happen, who's behind them, that is the single biggest and most powerful step you can take to protect yourself.
Think about it. You now have the mental framework to see the digital world in a new light. You're better equipped to spot that sketchy email, you get why that software update is so important, you understand the why behind the attacks, you've officially moved from just being aware to truly understanding. So the only question left is what's your next move?